Good morning, students. Now we can go through community intervention trials. Community intervention trials. Effectiveness of an intervention in the community is studied. So intervention can be a treatment, vaccination, health promotion activity, health education activity, behavioral modification, nutritional intervention, or lifestyle modification, which is introduced in the community. So effectiveness of that intervention can be studied. Okay. Community intervention trials is an experimental epidemiological study. It can be parallel controlled trials, self-controlled trials, or externally controlled trials. What is parallel controlled trial? Intervention A is given to a group of randomly selected villages or community. So intervention A, for example, we can say a new vaccine. Intervention A will be introduction of a new vaccine to introduced to a group of randomly selected villages or communities. Intervention B, absence of that vaccine. Okay, no vaccine is given. Absence of intervention A is given to another group of randomly selected villages or community. They are known as control or comparison group or control or comparison village or community. Health outcome in both the groups of villages or communities are compared for studying the effectiveness of intervention A or for comparing intervention A with intervention B. So it is parallel controlled trial means two group of communities are included in this study at the same time. One group of community will be getting intervention A and another group of community or another group of villages will get intervention B. And the outcome in intervention communities will be compared with outcome in the control communities. Okay. Self-controlled trial. Intervention A is given to a group of randomly selected villages or communities. Then, health outcome. Before giving intervention A or before introducing intervention A is compared with a health outcome after introducing intervention A. That is known as self-controlled trial. Intervention A is introduced and health outcome before the introduction of intervention A is compared with health outcome after the introduction of intervention A. Externally controlled trials. Intervention A is given to a group of randomly selected villages or communities in a country or a state. The participants receiving the intervention being tested are compared with a group of individuals or communities who are separate from the population tested in the trial, compared with a community in another state or country. Okay, so that is externally controlled trials. Now we can go through the steps of community intervention trials. Selection and randomization of experimental and control communities. Selection and randomization of experimental and control communities. Baseline data collection about outcome from experimental and control communities. Then we are introducing community-based intervention. So intervention is introduced in the experimental villages or experimental communities. No intervention or comparison intervention is given to control communities or control villages. Data collection on outcomes comparisons of outcomes, and interpretation of outcome. These are the four steps. Selection and randomization of experimental and control communities or villages, baseline data collection from experimental and control communities, community-based intervention is given, then data collection on outcomes, comparison of outcome, and interpretation of outcome. Now we can go through step by step. Selection and randomization of study and control groups. Study villages and control or comparison villages are selected randomly. Second step, baseline data collection. Baseline data collection related to outcome from both experimental villages and control villages are collected. Baseline data collection. Then intervention. Intervention A is given to study or experimental villages or experimental communities. Intervention B, that can be lack of intervention A or some other standard intervention, is given to comparison village or control villages. Data collection, comparison, and interpretation. Data related to health outcome are collected from experimental and control villages, maybe after a period of study. Okay. Health outcome from both study villages and comparison villages are compared and interpreted. Based on the interpretation, we can say uh, if health intervention in the experimental villages are effective or not. Community intervention, such as vaccines, are tested using community intervention trials. Nutrition intervention, like food basket program, are tested based on community intervention trials. Thank you.